a lot of people are going to be really surprised by my opinion about this movie, especially out of all of the opinions that I've seen on like Twitter and stuff like that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the sequel to the 2018 film Aquaman and stars Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Nicole Kidman, and and is honestly a fun movie. Yeah, I kind of liked it. Like, it's not better than the first one. I think the first one is a tad bit better than this one, but it's not as bad as some people have been coming out and saying it. It's like, I'm literally looking at the page right now, and it has like a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 45% on Metacritic. Every single post that I have seen about this movie has been just completely shitting on it, comparing it to things like Thor, Love and Thunder, and other recent Marvel films and other recent DC films and all that kind of stuff. But I went in expecting it to be not so good from what I've heard, and I came out pleasantly surprised that it was honestly not that bad. Like, yeah, it's not gonna blow your socks off. It's not gonna be like, the Batman or anything like that, but it is a pretty decently fun time. I found myself having fun watching this movie. When it comes to superhero films today, acting is a little bit hard to kind of, judge, because a lot of the more recent superhero films today have been more about joking around and stuff like that, and there's been more of an emphasis on comedy recently. I'm not saying every superhero film has done this, but I'm saying that like a lot of them that have come out recently have kind of been down that vein. And Aquaman is in that vein. There's a lot of jokes in this movie. There's a lot of levity to be had in this film. But I think that this movie does balance the jokey, funny nature of it all with some pretty serious, stuff. I do think it's kind of funny that the big thematic villain of this film is climate change, although they do kind of attach a villain to it, and I think it's they're having fun. One of the things that this movie definitely does better than the first is that there's only one villain. There's only one villain instead of two villains. One of my biggest problems with the original Aquaman is that Black Manta really didn't have anything to do with the story except having one really cool fight scene with Aquaman, and that's about it. Meanwhile, Orm, the actual main villain of the film, gets kind of sidelined in the beginning because they're giving a lot of time to Black Manta when they really could have been using that time to give Orm more of a build-up. It's one of the few things about the original that I think really brought it down in terms of quality. In this one, Black Manta is most definitely the villain of the film. He gets a lot of that setup. He gets a lot of time to kind of show just how cartoonishly evil he is. And I think that this movie also understands that it's just trying to continue the same vibe as the original, where it's very Saturday morning cartoons, but in live action and with a lot more budget put into it. And I just really love that. And this sentiment is carried over with also how Aquaman is. Listen, it's very clear that Patrick Wilson, Jason Momoa, even Nicole Kidman, everybody in this movie, everybody in this film, even James Wan, the director, it's very clear that they're having fun with this movie. They're having as much fun as they can. This is kind of like the last hurrah, let's go out with a big bang kind of feel. If you walk into this movie expecting very serious storytelling, you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you're expecting to have just a pretty decent time at the movies with some pretty colorful special effects that are honestly very well done, some really well choreographed action sequences, and just a very vibrant movie to look at with a few jokes that actually do hit, then yeah, that's basically it. I love Jason Momoa's Aquaman. He's having the time of his life in this movie. He's like a little kid running around in a playground and just being like, yeah, I'm him, I'm Aquaman, and it's so much fun. And I also really like the whole Orm and Aquaman subplot that they have going on. For those of you who haven't seen the trailer, the whole point of this movie is that Aquaman gets his brother out of prison, and they both have to go together to stop Black Manta. Orm, his brother, was the villain of the first film. So it's really fun watching Aquaman and Orm, having to come together and actually having to become brothers and be like, yeah, we're brothers and everything. And I'm actually really happy that this movie didn't pull any kind of like, oh, Orm was always evil all along. It's really fun to finally have a movie that's like, yeah, people can be good and everything, and people can reconcile, and it's great. I kind of wish this movie had a little bit more of that, if I'm being completely honest, but what we got was a lot of fun. And I also like the fact that this movie just goes all out with the cartooniness. There's a literal section of this film where they are being chased by giant meat-eating, I would say grasshoppers, probably. It's fun. It's just a lot of fun. This movie's just kind of a old 70s, 80s comic book come to life, and I found myself kind of just enjoying myself. It was fun. I don't know what else to tell you, but I think the biggest W of this movie definitely needs to go to James Wan. I mean, the guy can just direct insanely well in almost every facet. I love how he started off in like pure horror with movies like The Conjuring and what's it called? Malignant and so many, and a few others too. And now he's Saw. I'm forgetting the one that started his career. Saw, the first and honestly only good Saw movie in my opinion. I'm probably gonna get completely destroyed for that saying that, but like, yeah, it really is cool to see him finally just having fun with the film. A lot of the action sequences in this movie are really fun and very well filmed. There's not a lot of quick shaky cam editing or anything like that. You have sweeping wide angles for every single action sequences, whether it's a fight or not. You see everything. The camera is moving with the characters. The camera is very kinetic, and it kind of puts you in that same position as the characters are when they are quite literally fighting for their life. There is a fight sequence at the end of this movie that is really cool. I wish it was a little bit longer, but it was really cool. Obviously, it's Black Manta versus Arthur, Aquaman, again, but it's really cool because they're fighting with their tridents. They're doing some really cool choreography and all that kind of stuff. You're getting the ting 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 and all that kind of stuff, and then like the camera just never cuts. The camera's swooping around them, wide, lows, highs. You're just getting this entire view of this fight, and it's really cool. And also, whoever James Wan hires for his action team, his choreography for like the actual fights and everything, well, they know what they're doing because they always look clean as hell. It's just a lot of fun to watch this movie, and that's really it. That being said, like I said in the beginning of the review, this is not better than the first one, and the reason for that is because the pacing of this movie is kind of all over the place. This movie is very quick at times, and then it just completely slows down, and then it just ramps back up again, and then it completely slows down, and then it just ramps back up again. And you can tell that there were a lot of things that were probably edited out of this movie, and that's probably because of the whole Amber Heard situation. That being said, she is in this movie quite a bit. If that's going to sour your opinion of this movie, I'm just gonna warn you right here, right now. She's in it for a pretty good amount, but it's very easy to tell that they edited a lot more of her out because she kind of just shows up. Like, she's not really a player of the main story. She kind of just shows up every now and then. I mean, of course, it's hard to hide her when she is the wife of the main character and the queen of Atlantis, and also is the mother of their child. It's kind of hard to hide her from the story, but like, yeah, I think that there was a lot of her taken out of the film, and they probably restructured the movie around that, and that's kind of what made the movie a little weirdly paced. That's just my personal suspicion. But other than the pacing, and other than a few of the jokes not landing all the time, I honestly had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it's a good time. I think it's fun. I think it's a fun watch. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for my Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom review. I don't think you have to see this movie in theaters, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I don't think that this movie is just that good. But I think it was really fun to watch this on an IMAX screen with the IMAX sound and everything. So I don't know. It's honestly up to you. If you like the first one, chances are you'll probably enjoy this one. But yeah, I think you can wait for this one. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this review, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.